What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Beauty and the Bold. No.
Is there any topics, any controversial topics that you guys want to talk about that we haven't talked about?
Tell us about Kate's first baby daddy.
Don't say baby daddy.
Yeah, I don't like that word. Tell us about the father of Kate's first baby, and how does Andrew and you deal with that?
I don't really know him that well, so I don't really talk to him that much. We had a couple conversations in life. Just keep everything civil, you know?
It used to be really rough between me and him, but now I would say we do great at just focusing on solely Adeline. Adeline is 5 years old.
Yeah, and
she was 2 when I met him.
Correct. So she doesn't really know of a world without both of us.
Right.
So I think that's been really beneficial to me, and it's also been beneficial to him.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of okay with it. The harder part, I guess, has been explaining to Raylan why Adeline leaves sometimes.
Yeah. I do still, like, you know, when you first split with the father of your child and you have to do split custody with your child, and there you go through this, like, mourning period of, like, your kid not being with you. And I thought that feeling would go away eventually, but it's been 3 years, and every time she leaves, it's still there. Mm-hmm. It's still like a empty feeling in your soul and your heart that, like, when she's not here, and you know she's happy and she's healthy with the other parent and everything is fine, like she's having a blast and she's gonna come home, but it's just like I don't know, no parent like wants to be away from their kid. So, but I think the hardest part probably is like not anything to do with me. It'd be more of like you and how you have to handle it, because you're not her biological father. Mm-hmm. You're her stepfather, and
right.
That I think being a step parent is very hard sometimes.
It was easier when we didn't have children.
Yeah, it definitely got a little harder when we had biological children together. I think, well, it's mainly, yeah, this is hard to talk about.
Yeah, hard
to talk about than we thought.
To me, like, I grew up with stepbrothers and stepsisters, so there's no full sibling between us. And I have one brother that is 100% my brother that I love, just like my other brothers. And he doesn't have the same mom or dad as me. He just came in with a marriage and just stuck around. And even after the marriage, he stuck around. He's still around. We're actually going to his birthday party this weekend. So the whole step thing isn't a thing. When you love somebody and you care for them and you develop a bond with them, it's very different. So, like, when Adeline and I and Caitlin first met, like, she was such a sweet little girl, you know? And to give her ice cream and see her smile, and
it wasn't hard to fall in love with her.
Yeah, help take her to the trampoline park with Caitlin. We're all together, and see her learn how to jump in the trampoline park and learn how to play and run, and then play doctor with her. Those moments were very beautiful for me. Now, as she goes over there more and spends time with him more, I kind of don't want to intrude as much. So now that I have the biological kids, it's like these kids, I don't have any restrictions.
It's almost like relieving.
Yeah.
To know that, like, you don't have to share them with other people.
Yeah.
Because it's just me and him.
Yeah.
And so it's hard because you don't want her to feel excluded. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the differences are is like I didn't see Adeline learn how to walk. I wasn't there for that. I wasn't there for those certain things. Whereas for Raylan, you know, I was there for all of that. You know, and she's known me the whole time. And the way she just runs to me, and the way, you know, it's different.
I think it's probably hard for you because you don't want to overstep him.
Yeah.
And you don't want to understep.
Right.
So trying to find that balance is like really hard. I don't think I could do it. I really don't. Like, and I even look at like his girlfriend who treats Adeline as her own too. And I could only imagine how she feels because she has her own biological kid with him. So I can only imagine how she feels like to me and how I am like her biological mother. So she doesn't want to overstep me, but she also wants to take care of Adeline. So I could imagine that's really hard. And I don't know what it's like. He doesn't know what that's like, my Adeline's dad, because we're her biological parents and we don't have stepkids. So I just think, but I do admire one thing about you is that you never say this is my stepdaughter. It's this is my child. You know, he never was like, this is, you know, my stepdaughter. She's not mine. She's not this. It's always like, this is my kid. But if we had to go into logistics, obviously we explain like, she's not biologically his.
I think that the biggest thing that I thought about with Adeline was like, hey, I don't ever want this girl to feel left out, to feel like I didn't love her the same as my, you know, biological kids. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to understep, like she's saying. I didn't want to make that mistake. I didn't want 15 years down the road for her to be like, well, why didn't you stand up more and be more of my father when I was with you during the week? Why did you kind of cast me aside and you love this person more than me? I can tell you treat them differently. I don't want her to feel those feelings because I genuinely believe in like bringing our family together properly. And it is a little bit more work with her. Yeah. And it is a little bit more like, and one thing too is like when we first were together, we had Adeline one-on-one and I could do things one-on-one with Adeline and there was nobody interrupting it. So then as Raylan got older and I want to do those one-on-one things, Adeline kind of jumps in and I'm like, to some extent, I feel like I have to divert my attention from my biological kid to my stepkid.
To make her feel included.
And then I kind of feel like a bad dad to, you know, Raylan because of that. But those are just, we all have thoughts. I can imagine.
It's hard. It's definitely hard to balance that because I even like look at it and I worry so much that she doesn't feel like included, that like when everyone's playing, I'm like, okay, like how are we going to include Adeline and Raylan and make them both feel equal and I know they both feel equal. Like Adeline's never once said like, well, you know, you're not my real dad. None of that. So, but it's as their parent, it's hard. Yeah. There's no other way to describe it. It's just difficult.
Yeah. So I've taken Adeline on individual daddy-daughter days to make her feel the real, you know, like, hey, I'm really there for you. And I've also, when I get on Adeline, I get on Raylan the same way. I don't want to be like, oh, sweet baby Ray Ray, because she's still 2. I want to show Adeline that I'm not just getting on you because, you know, of certain things. I'm getting on her too. So not only do you love them equally, but you discipline them equally, you know? You can't let them, you know, you got to keep it as
basically hold them to the same standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I try my hardest to make sure that he feels like, you know, we're not trying to make him not exist.
And shut him out,
you know? So a lot of people ask us, you know, oh, I didn't know Adeline was your stepkid. I'm like, I mentioned it in a video. Like I put it in a video.
We're not going to talk about it all the time because that's making her feel excluded. I'm not going to point it out. Well, you know, she is his stepkid. Like I'm not going to say that over and over again. So it's like finding the balance between not completely forgetting her biological father, but also not pointing it out every second of the day that she's not biologically yours.
She's an equal part of the family. All the pieces are equal, you know?
And we try very hard to make that all.
Yeah.
And I think we do a good job.
Yeah.
And one thing we really don't ever do, and we stand on this, is never talk bad about her biological father or his girlfriend or anyone on that side of the family in front of her. Ever. And if you have stepkids, kids in general, if you're not with the parent, you don't talk about the kid's parent badly in front of them. It will not work out in your favor. They will end up not liking you for it.
Yeah. And you know, and that's one thing growing up is like blood wasn't necessarily family for me. It was more about the relationships I had. There was plenty of friends that I grew up with that I still hold dear to my heart that helped shape the way I think, my mindset, everything. So I really wanted to be able to imprint on Adeline and make her the best version of herself. You know, I would love to be a part of that. I would love for the opportunity, especially when you have a young, malleable mind, that you could help become a very productive member of society. I don't want to lose that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have many opportunities to make the world a better place, but like a young child that loves me and looks up to me, I have an opportunity to really give her the best advice I think I can give her to make her become great, you know? And we try to specialize in her certain skills that she does. Yeah, and my dad called my brother his son, and my brother called him dad, and they have no biological nothing. Yeah. So, like, he just came in when I was young, like Adeline came in when she was young, and then they just built a relationship. So I think it might be a little different if you marry somebody and their kid's 12.
Probably, I would say, it'd be harder.
Yeah, it'd be harder.
Because they probably look at you like, you're replacing my dad.
Yeah.
You're replacing my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have a stepmom that I care about that taught me a lot of things. I have my biological mom. Now, there's a couple more stepmoms that I don't give the time of day, and I won't. But there's one stepmom and my mom that hold there. And then I had one dad. I had another stepdad, but he died when I was like 3. So he was like a father to me too. I have memories of him.
Yeah, it's definitely probably easier the younger they are because their minds are they're so accepting and willing to change. The older they get, they're like, wait a minute. So I could imagine it would be a lot harder, like, for an older child to come into their life. But I mean, at the end of the day, just making sure everyone feels equally loved and equally a part of the family is what matters.
Yeah.
And like, I'll never let anyone come to my kids and be like, well, Adeline, they're only your half siblings. Like, that's so, I hate that. I hate those things, the half and the step. And if you're family, you're family, and that's just it. But I don't have much experience in this besides my own life because my parents are still together.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any experience in stepdads or stepmoms. I don't have a stepdad or a stepmom. So, and I don't have step brothers or sisters. I'm all biological. So this was definitely like a big thing to learn. And it took me and Adeline's dad a long time to just be able to talk without wanting to kill each other.
That being said, I really don't talk to him. I've only talked to him twice. Don't really have any desire to talk to him. Maybe later on in life we'll talk more, but that's just my personal thing. My focus is on Caitlin, Adeline, Raylan, and Aurelius.
Yeah, sometimes I see like the big co-parenting families, they all hang out and stuff like that, and I don't think
we're not there yet.
There yet.
So,
maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
But no, not yet. Okay, nice little topic change. Have I ever tried girls, Kate? No, MJ, I have not. No, I have not. I think I like kissed a girl, like one of my friends in high school, but they like messing around. But like it wasn't like. Have you, Andrew?
No. My back door is closed for in perpetuity.
Except for the dog.
That's true. The dog tried me. I didn't try him.
I don't know. Has YouTube heard this story before?
Yeah, it's in a video, a vlog. We were, if you guys haven't heard the story, it's in a vlog. But if not, and you want to hear it again, Caitlin and I were, in the bedroom doing our thing, and the dog assaulted me from behind with his nose in my butt. And
didn't he lick you?
Yeah, he licked me, and that's the first time it's ever been eaten. And it was terrible. I tell you, it's not what it's hyped up to be.
Look, hold on. Let me demonstrate. Okay? He's like this, right? And the dog is like...
Yeah.
I have never in my life seen this man move so fast. It was great. It was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me.
On a side note, any of you guys ever having sex and like think that there's like a robber that's getting ready to just come get you from behind, like kill you?
No.
I get anxiety sometimes.
I've never had that thought, but I have that thought like in the middle of the night when I'm walking through the house.
Like I think like someone's waiting behind me, like just before I'm about to finish, and they just about to hit me in the back of the head with a hammer. Like,
is it like the same feeling you get when you're like closing your eyes in the shower and you think someone's standing there?
I don't know. And whenever I go pee at a urinal, like I always have to like look over my shoulder. I think someone's gonna come behind me in like a spy movie.
That is called paranoia.
And just bam, right behind me, my head into the wall, and they just start beating the hell out of me. Why do I feel that way?
If you let the dog in, you'll have someone to protect you.
Like it kills me, you know what I'm saying?
I have that kind of fear when I go out in public. Like especially if I'm alone with my kids, I feel like someone's just gonna come up and take my children or take me when I'm like putting them in the car. Oh, shiver me timbers. I do not like that feeling.
All right, let's do this. Grateful check. What are you grateful for? Think about it though. You go first, I'll go second.
What am I grateful for?
Or what are some things you can express gratitude for?
Grateful for, the food in our fridge.
Yeah.
That we can eat and not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for healthy children.
Yeah.
Our kids aren't sick and they're healthy.
I mentioned that the other day when we were watching Greenland. I was like, Caitlin, life could be a lot worse. Our kid could be a type 1 diabetic with a pump.
Yeah.
Or,
or
anything.
In a cancer hospital. Like there's so much that could, and you don't realize it until you see it. And then you feel like a terrible person for like even complaining about your life because you have it so well, I'm grateful to not be in an abusive relationship,
Yeah, I feel that.
Trying to think of like other things. I'm grateful for good parents. I have very good parents. And I didn't realize that a lot of people don't. You don't realize that. You think like, it's just, if you have good parents, you don't realize how many people don't. Like my parents would do anything for me. I could call them. They would drop everything and be here in a second. And a lot of people don't have that. And that makes me sad. I want to be your parent if you don't have that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm first and foremost, I'm grateful for you.
Are you mad I didn't say that first?
No. I'm grateful for our family, and the opportunities that we have on YouTube is something I've always longed for.
Yeah.
Just the ability to reach people, talk to them, and make people laugh. That's awesome. I'm grateful for,
Yeah,
I'm grateful to be alive. This is a rare opportunity. I'm grateful to have my health. There's a lot of people my age that can't move like me, that don't move like me, that don't exercise. I'm grateful for a lot of the traumas I've had in my life.
Yeah.
I don't think that I would have met Caitlin without my rough. I had a really easy life. I don't want to say rough life. It was just weird. Like, 'cause I got everything. I had a great childhood. I was always taken care of physically. I never had to struggle to eat food. I never had to see those type of struggles. So it's so hard for me to complain and not be grateful about what we have, because there's so many people in the world that just don't have it, They don't. And I know it, the glitz and glamour, live in the United States, the things we watch on TV, the cable television shows, don't necessarily paint the real picture of the world, because 40,000 people will die of starvation today, poverty, whatever. I think 1 billion people don't eat every day, if that's not I'm not wrong. It's a 1 in 400 trillion chance to be alive right now. Life is precious. Existence is precious. So at the face value, I'm just grateful. So then to think about like the intricate details of what I'm grateful for is kind of like, bland. I'm just grateful to be healthy and alive. I'm grateful to have a beautiful wife and family.
I think it's very healthy to say the things you're grateful for to yourself every day, especially when you get in a mindset of, gosh, I hate my life. I don't want to be living, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm bored. I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. My life sucks. Because you can get in that mindset so easily and forget about all the things you do have. And then, but reminding yourself of like all the grateful stuff, reminding yourself about all the stuff you're grateful for is very, very important.
Yeah. Because I get stressed out and depressed about my life's not where I want it to be. But that's just, you're living in imagination. You're living in an expected world, an expected reality. It's just not here yet. It's not going to be here. It's not going to arrive. Like the only thing we really have right now is this moment in time. And I'm very grateful for that moment. And sometimes I have to check myself because when things aren't going exactly the way I want, I want so much out of life. I want to move so fast. And sometimes I just need to slow down and smell the roses. You know what I mean? And so I think that bringing up what you're grateful for and reflecting on life is very important to get you back in your humble place,
As an attractive bald man myself, I don't need to fix it, but have you ever find yourself falling down the can I fix this rabbit hole?
What do you mean by that? Can I fix this?
Like your hairline, maybe?
Oh, so my hairline, yeah, I quit on that a while ago. And I really quit because I could have fixed it, and I didn't do it. My brother would have flew with me to Turkey. It was only going to cost me like $1,000. I had the money. I could have flew to Turkey with my brother and got my hairline fixed. And I was just like, you know what? Hair brings a man no value. And I really like the way that sounds. There is no value in hair. And anybody who really wants a partner for the superficial look, most of the time that relationship's not going to be extremely healthy, or it's not going to be up to my standard. So finding a partner like Caitlin who did not care about my hair was very comforting.
I have never, as a woman, looked at a guy and been like, ew, he's bald. Like, I don't care. There are plenty of attractive bald men.
New question. How do you guys keep the work ethic you have right now?
We can't not.
Yeah, we can't not. Well, we need to make money to support our family. That's number one.
Our kids.
But number two, for me, I can only speak for me on this one. It comes back to the gratefulness, We only get one shot at life, and it's going to be over before you know it. I know I'm about to be 35, and I look back at the last 35 years, and it went by so quick. It seems just like yesterday I was 18, just like yesterday I was in elementary school. And I feel like I'm the same person through all these times. And I feel like a kid at heart. I have not lost that kiddish luster in my heart. And I feel like, I have an opportunity to maybe do something good in this world. I kind of feel like my life, I did all the things I wanted to do by the time I was, 23 that I always wanted to do as a kid. The only thing that I didn't do that I wanted to do was find the right partner to build a family with. And I have that. So right now I have everything that I've ever wanted in this life. And now I just kind of want to figure out a way to get to the point where I can give back on a large level. And that's where I kind of get stressed out sometimes, is because I'm not anywhere near where I need to be, and I see all these other people who gain fame and fortune, and they kind of do it to cover up their insecurities or to gain power and be more narcissistic. And it boils my blood, because I feel like I don't want to get stuck in the, hey, if I had that, I would do this thing. But the only option, the only way to take those envious feelings away is to work harder. Because the only reason I don't have those things is because I haven't sold out completely and worked hard enough. And that's what I believe. So the harder I work, the more I believe, the more I get what I want. And I know a lot of people kind of try and make fun of the whole belief thing and all that. But if you work hard enough, really work hard. And then when you're working hard, take another step, find another level, and you follow that belief, things fall in line for you. They do. And when you get discouraged, when you run into those moments where nothing's going right, no matter what you do, it's suffocating and stifling, just keep going. Work harder. And eventually you'll pass through that storm. So
he needs to give himself more credit, but he doesn't listen very well.
Credit's for after you're dead. That's where all the credit lies.
Yeah. I try to, I don't know. I think sometimes I forget as a woman how hard it is on a man, especially because you want to provide so much. And even though like you as a wife or as a mother, you see your husband, your spouse, like doing so well, working so hard, and you're so appreciative, you tell him, no matter how much you tell them, sometimes they still are going to be so hard on themselves. So I think the male brain is toxic in that way almost, but it drives you guys. It drives you so much. Yeah. I mean, it does it to women too, but a lot of people don't realize how hard it affects men to provide. That's a hard, thing to bear. This is a therapy session. I'm glad we could be of service.
Yeah.
I need to go talk to a therapist.
I refuse to talk to a therapist. I genuinely think, let's talk about therapy, okay? If somebody did not go through similar situations that I went through, there is no amount of classes they can take in college to give me advice on my life.
Well, they're not supposed to give you advice.
Or whatever they're trying to do. Talk me through whatever they're trying to talk me through. How could they understand? And that's the thing about psychology, which is my bone with psychology, is it's not real science to me. Like, I would rather study neurobiology and compare my situations to how my brain functioned in those situations and find out why I like them so much or why I dislike them so much. And that is a biological, chemical thing. That is not some guy, oh, did that make you feel strange?
That's so stereotypical.
Well, how does that make you feel? Oh, did you use a Kleenex to wipe your ass?
No. Okay. Therapy isn't supposed to be a advice session, and they're not supposed to know everything like about life or relate to it. They're supposed to sit there and use their tools to help you work through it, is technically what is supposed to happen.
Now, that being said, I have talked to a therapist, and there was one therapist that I really enjoyed talking to. But I just feel like therapy can become an addiction to where you have this exit, this excuse that you go to and you talk to, and then you go back to your normal life. It's kind of like, in a sense, how some religious people treat church. They go into church, they talk about all their sins, they talk about what's wrong, the pastor gives them this big message, and then the next 6 days of the week, they do the same thing. And there's not real change. Now, that's not always the instance, but that does happen. Yeah. And I just don't like the whole persona behind it.
Yeah, that's true. If you're going to go to therapy, at least apply what you are learning to your life. I just don't have time. But I get it. I studied a lot of psychology and science. Or what? I studied a lot of psychology in college. And like the psychology of women, the psychology of men. A lot of it does relate more to neuroscience, though. Like you're saying, some of it I'm like, meh, not sure about that one. But I think that when people say like, oh, I need to go to therapy, you can find a therapist really in anyone who's willing to listen and willing to help you talk through it. Now, going to psychology classes, and especially my therapy class, really helps me learn how to talk to people when they're venting and learn how to not be so almost selfish and narcissistic. When people used to tell me, their situation they're in, and I would try so hard to relate to how they're feeling that I would bring up myself, and I would bring up a situation. Oh, I know what you're going through. I went through this, blah, 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 blah. Here's what I did, blah, 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 blah. And then you turn the whole conversation on yourself. And I used to do that so much until I realized I'm like, I need to stop talking about myself. And I know it comes from a good place. Like, it comes from a very good place. But sometimes that person just wants you to listen to them and not try to relate in what your life is going. Yeah. So now when people vent to me, I really try to say, like, I ask more questions about it. How are we feeling about that? What do you think you can do differently? What do you think you are doing that's working? Stuff like that. And I think it made me a lot better just of a person to talk to, really. So.
I do think, though, if you don't want to go to therapy, you're not interested in that, I think watching some lectures on neurobiology, watching some lectures on psychology, and then being fearless absolutely fearless about discussing the things that ail your mind and your problems and talking about life fearlessly without the fear of judgment, that will help you heal. That will help you heal. And I think that that is something I'm very, very good at. Caitlin will tell you she has many what the fuck moments.
Oh, every day of my
Because
life.
I don't care. I tell how I feel. I speak it out loud, you know, and I won't do it right away when I get to know you. Like her family, I give them doses, you know, but I slipped up to her aunt, was it our aunt? And I was like, because I'm one bad motherfucker. That's why I was like, damn it, why'd I say that to her? I let my intrusive thoughts win. You know?
Yeah.
I got a little egotistical and stuff. Yeah.
Therapy should be for those who really want to heal and eventually get out of. Exactly. Therapy is not something you should be in lifelong.
Yeah.
Unless like you want to go for like damage control. But if you're going for the same reason over and over again and you're not healing, then it's really like, is it what's the problem? Let's look at the common denominator.
It's like those people who go and take, you know, anti-opiates like methadone and Suboxone to get off heroin, but ended up taking Suboxone and heroin for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Or Suboxone and methadone for the rest of their life. Something like that. You
Yeah.
go for your, you know, to wean yourself off your problem. And then that's it.
But also, the mental health crisis in the United States is so whack that
I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but I feel like in the United States that most people are very mentally unwell. It is not good. The state of the world right now, the state of culture, social, all of it is not okay. And it's unfortunate because the school systems aren't really teaching humans how to be humans, how to understand their emotions, understand their mind, understand their feelings, the things they're going through, their desires, what their desires are, where their desires stem from. The schools are not teaching critical thinking skills. They're not teaching the basic fundamentals for human progress, and they're just shoving all this narrative and new things down people's throats. And
teaching you how to do calculus instead of like how to live life.
Yeah. And I think that's, you know, that's kind of why there's a lot of the growing theme is that, you know, societies back in the day were more healthier, more stable, or the Native Americans, for instance, were very stable people. Now they did have people that were murdering other tribes. So, you know, there's always going to be conflict and problems, but there are certain social and socioeconomic things that happen in good societies where they're not sick.
Why is that? Do you think that there just always has to be a conflict? There can't ever just be peace.
I don't think always is the answer. I think that at one point there were people who were peaceful and loving, and then at another point there were people who were extremely hungry and couldn't find food. And when you're biologically in that situation, you have to be violently doing things almost to the point where you have to eat. And I think that the younger version of the human race created conflict and violence, and then it became nurtured through those situations. And I think over time, we just haven't matured past it enough to where we can be a unified, working together people. Some people think it won't happen till, let's say, we have a nuclear party. Then people are like, hey, maybe violence isn't the way. We just wiped out half the population.
Well, if you pay attention in all of the world events where there's crisis and trauma and it's tragic, that's when people come together the most. So it's almost like, do we need conflict and do we need that to come together to eventually find peace? Do you think humans are just genuinely out to destroy? Like it's in our nature just to be combative?
I think that nature, in order for it to be nature, it must first be nurtured. So I think that you could nurture people in a way to where there wouldn't be such violent tendencies, you know. I look at the human race as a very young and immature adolescent child. So I think that we will mature over time. And I think eventually, with the right application of science and understanding, that the human can evolve away from shooting each other and hurting each other violently.
I disagree.
That's fine.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I genuinely don't. I think that there will always be someone who's evil.
And I think that if it doesn't
and
happen,
hungry for power.
If it doesn't happen, we will cease to exist on this planet.
Yeah.
And human extinction is not something that I will settle with. So, if it's impossible, I will believe in the impossible till I die, till breath comes out of my lungs. So be it, I will believe in the impossible. I agree good cannot exist without evil, vice versa, but the evil doesn't have to be here on with the humans. The universe is so big. There is so much evil out there. It doesn't have to be the human race. You know, it can be another thing. We could defend ourselves against another thing. My priority to me, in my mind, the only thing that I can think of that's worth anything is protecting the human. That's it. And that's why I like Jesus. Out of all the religious characters and all the people, Jesus said, love them for they know not what they do. Let he who is free of sin cast the first stone. Okay, thou shalt not kill. It doesn't mean when the situation protects you. It means thou shalt not kill, right? Yeah. He got whipped. He got crucified. He got thrown up on a cross, and he didn't swing a single fist. So I like the idea of Jesus and all that. Whether you don't believe in the religious aspect of it, that man himself is the embodiment of what a good human being is to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's my thing with religion, is all these people go to church all the time. They tell me I can't make sexual jokes with my wife. I can't do all this stuff, but yet they lie their ass off. They First Amendment, I'm going to shoot somebody who breaks in my house. They lock their doors. They don't love thy neighbor. And it's just like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's like, shut up.
I think that's one of my biggest things. It's like the love thy neighbor or treat others as you want to be treated. People don't do that nowadays. It's, if you don't treat me the way I want to be treated, I'm not going to treat you. You know, if you're not nice to me, I'm not going to be nice to you. And that's just not, to me, it's not. I mean, but it does lead you to be walked all over. So it's definitely a hard thing to like concept. But I mean, in my mind, I know that if I'm kind to someone who isn't even kind to me, that eventually that good is going to come back to me. It will, in some form. Nowadays, it's match your energy. Right, exactly.
And Darka does. He said, how can we implement that mentality in every single human being on this planet? I would think that we would need a team of highly intelligent neurobiologists, biologists, linguists, structural engineers. You would have to take the agricultural yield of every piece of land. This amount of land can give this many resources to this many people. Take all the technological advancements that we have. Make sure all resources are readily and available for those people. It would be an extremely tough situation to get there. But the thing is, if we do not get there, we will cease to exist in this universe. And that's the problem. It's like, I'm with you guys. It seems impossible and hard, and it's not likely to happen. But if it does not happen, the human race goes extinct. To me, there is no other way.
No, I think about this all the time. If there was an intruder and my family was at risk, I don't know if I could be like Jesus and not protect them, but it would slowly destroy me internally. I think about that more than I probably should. You know, I don't ever want to kill someone, but if it came down to it, one, do I have the guts to pull that trigger to protect people I love and myself? And two, what would I become after? Because no matter what, I still killed someone. Yeah, a bad person, sure. But like I still killed a human live being. This is coming from someone who can't even kill an animal. Okay? I can't. My family can. They can go hunting. I'll eat it, but I cannot kill it. I've done it once when I was 5. I shot an alligator and I cried for like a week, and I don't ever think. So it's like, you know, you can prepare yourself for all the situations. You can get your concealed weapons permit. You could take your self-defense classes. You can imagine every scenario of someone breaking in your house and you standing your ground. But then you think of, what will I become after that? That has to haunt you. It has to.
I was thinking about this in the shower last night. Like, you know, I don't like talking about privilege and all that, but I'm very privileged to live in a situation where I don't have to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So this is my soapbox right now I'm standing on, because I am not in a situation where I have to kill somebody. And if the situation ever arises where I would have to kill somebody, I don't know what I would do, but it would have to be right then and there. You're going to find out, because I can stand on this soapbox all day and beat on my chest. This is what it's going to be. But honestly, genuinely, I'm telling you, man to man, woman to woman, man to whatever, I do not know how I would respond. You know, I've killed some birds. I killed a raccoon and I cracked him with a baseball bat. And I was like, you know what? Let's not do that no more. That felt a little too good. So like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like I don't really want, I don't want to be Ted Bundy. I don't want to be Chris Watts. I don't want to be Mussolini. I don't want to be Adolf. I don't want to be any of these monstrous people. And I don't want to have to kill somebody. I feel like I'm not necessarily afraid of the event of me killing somebody, but I'm afraid on who I'll become after that.
Yeah, that's exactly my point.
And I don't want to be the person that has to kill somebody, and I don't want to become that man. So that's my biggest fear.
It is one of mine too.
That's one of my biggest. Yeah, there we go. Someone asked the biggest fear earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't ever want to kill a person or an animal, but we will if we have to in order to protect each other. Right.
All
But
right,
you
guys.
got to think about.
Sorry.
I mean, hey, look at Last of Us. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but Joel, all he had to do was kill one person. Now he'd be killing everyone.
But like if you're in that situation, the Last of Us situation, you better be popping heads. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about with the resources, the technology, and the world we can build, the direction we should move in, or we need to move in to protect humans. That's what I'm talking about. If World War III starts, right, and China and Russia invades the United States, I will shoot anyone that comes near my family more than once. So like in that situation, it's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about we got a United Nations right now. We have enough resources to feed and provide everyone on the planet. We can fix the world. But what's in the way is the economic structure, and then the greed and all the stuff, and all that's in the way now. And I'm not going to be able to dissolve that. I'm not going to be like, capitalism goes down today. I'm not going to be able to do that. That's not something I seek or want to do. Right now, capitalism's the best system we have. I take part in it. I participate in it. I'm a pretty good capitalist. I capitalize off my personality. So like I'm pretty much, a really good one, if you ask me. But all that being said, we got to go.
We do.
We're out of time.
Well, that's all for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, turn the notifications on, and check out our merchandise. The link is all in the description, link in bio, all of that.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Bye. I got to pee so bad.
Yeah, she's going to do it on me.
No.